Welcome back to the Rain Brings Growth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Sidwell. We're here with Max Hendricks today. How's it going, dude?
It's going well, man.
Good. All right, we're going to try this again.
Yeah.
I did just mess up, but we'll do this again.
It's all good. Record button is pressed.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, so we were just talking. You're from Minnesota, and we're just, what's that like?
Yeah, so I'm from Mankato, Minnesota. Pretty like smaller city, but basically, if you take a look at the map of Minnesota, lower third of the state, right smack dab in the middle. So a lot of agriculture.
Yeah. The land of 10,000 lakes.
Yep.
So do you? I know you're into waterfowl. Is that where it came from? You guys got a lot of duck hunting back then?
Yeah. So I mean, Mississippi Flyway goes right through there, and my dad just grew up. It was an interest in my dad's, so really lucky to have, a dad who is into that type of stuff. Because I meet so many people, right, who want to get into hunting, and they didn't have that growing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with there being so many lakes, is it a lot of just like putting out your decoys, or are you jumping a lot of ditches? Like what's? Oh,
definitely both. Like especially in that area of Minnesota, there's a lot of farmland, a lot of bull ditches, so you can jump ducks like that. But we've got rivers, we've got lakes, so you can do it all.
So growing up in a small town like that, like what was there to do?
Yeah, so Mankato's I wouldn't call it like a small town. Like we have like two different high schools, private schools. So it's not like small, but like you and I were talking about, I had like the best of both worlds because my mom grew up on a farm. We still have the family farm, and I was raised in the city, right? So I feel like not that I don't want to say you don't have opportunities in a smaller town, but like we had the infrastructure for athletics. High school sports, a lot of opportunities there. But I also had a lot of freedom, being able to be on the farm like weekly. So
when you were growing up, I know you said you lease out the farm now, but did you have responsibilities growing up as a kid on the farm?
Dude, some of my favorite memories of my grandpa, my mom's dad. I think he passed away when I was probably right around like six years old or something like that. But I guess the short answer is no. But some of my best memories are like working with him, and this is just not that I'm a dad. It just like it's like full circle for me. I guess I didn't even think this would like come up, but I remember my grandpa got me my very own pliers, my pair of pliers, and my very own pair of yellow work gloves, like just like his matching. So I remember a lot of falls, getting dropped off there. I don't know. My mom probably wanted a couple hours to herself, and I would help him put up like snow fencing. Yeah. So.
Oh, nice.
But other than that, not a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah. So it's not like I was imagining, go feed the goats, all that good stuff in the morning. Like.
Yeah. So my mom was raised on a farm like that. They had turkeys, they had chickens, they had, I think they had pigs. I know they had sheep and stuff like that, but that was all gone. And now we just, lease out the agricultural land.
What sports? You said you played sports then back in Mankato. What did you guys play?
Yeah, so my favorite thing was football. So we played football. I ran track, and then I also did slalom skiing, downhill racing.
I just figured you were going to say hockey.
Yeah, pretty much everyone else. No, I grew up, playing hockey at the parks. If we talked about the 10,000 lakes earlier, but every single city park has an ice rink in Minnesota. Doesn't matter how big the park is, dude. They flood that thing. So I grew up playing like a lot of hockey, just not organized hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play sports in high school?
Yep. Played all three of those sports in high school.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, football, track, and skiing.
Did you letter?
I did. Yeah.
Get your Letterman jacket, all that.
Got my Letterman jacket. Yep. I was thinking about busting that thing back out. I was back at my parents' house, and I got my Letterman's jacket at an early age. I was able to be on some teams and stuff, and so I bought it big, because I think I was in like 9th grade or something like that. And it stunk because I feel like I've never gotten to wear it. I feel like they kind of went out of style when I was in high school, right? Like Saved by the Bell was kind of like the last era of wearing those. But I got a big one when I was in 9th grade. Kind of wasn't the style. And now I think it's too small, but I might try to bust it out and see if it fits.
Yeah, dude, you should make a reel about like the current you versus the high school you, and then bust it out. It gives you a reason. That's
right, dude. That's right. I got to get it. It's back in my parents' closet back home.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about hunting a little bit. Back there, you guys, is it pretty flat? I've never been back to Minnesota. I have family back there, but like,
yeah,
your deer hunting and stuff like that, is it all short range? I imagine like you know, it's I don't know. I just don't know what it looks like, but
Yeah, dude. Really, I mean, really different than out west. Dude, I look at every little foothill out here, and I'm like, wow, look at that mountain. Like, you'd laugh at me. You know, you're from Utah, right? You guys have big ones down there. But I'm in awe of even just like our foothills here in Boise, which is pretty cool. But because I mean, we're flatlanders, man. It is flat until you get over to like the eastern side of the state. So and a little bit up north, but it's flat, man. So short range. I think it's short range for like we just have whitetail. So short range for I think like 2/3 of the lower, like only the upper third of the state you can use rifle. So lower third or lower 2/3 I think is short range, as well as like archery and stuff like that. But it's, you know, it's everything from like, you know, grain fields to woods, all that.
Yeah,
hardwoods.
I'm excited to take you out to the west and get you a mule deer finally.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped.
That's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
So how long did you live in Minnesota?
Born and raised there, and then until I graduated high school and came out here for college.
Okay. And where'd you go to college?
At Boise State.
Did you get a scholarship there, or what made you want to come out here?
No, dude, I didn't. My high school girlfriend's family moved out here, and I never thought Idaho was, you know, I probably thought it was Iowa, just like a lot of, you know, we always make that joke. No, I didn't. I had no perspective, no idea about Idaho. My parents were great parents. I think this would be a really hard thing to do, but they said, hey, they encouraged me to, like, you know, be open-minded. Hey, why don't you look around? Me and that high school girlfriend, we were still dating and stuff, but, you know, we came out here and visited, and I was like, holy cow, like Idaho is incredible. So it was back in 2007. Things were a little bit different even back then, out here, but, yeah, never would have guessed I'd end up out here.
So you came out here in 2007?
Mm-hmm.
I moved from Utah to here in 2007. That's
Another crazy connection for us.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
I mean, you guys had to be pretty committed to move halfway across the country.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the way across the country.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's like, I don't know, 12 or 1,500 miles. It's a long ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you go to school for?
I originally was going to school for pre-med. Like, so I think pre-med degree. And thought I wanted to be a surgeon, thought I wanted to be a doctor.
Is that like a family thing? You got doctors
No,
in your family?
my ex-girlfriend, her dad was a trauma surgeon. You know, I'd been in Boy Scouts and things like that. I'd had some significant injuries, and so it's just an interest of mine. I thought, you know, hey, that, like, I like helping people, and you know, doing the actual work kind of sounded like it interested me.
Yeah. Did you work throughout high school?
I did, yeah. As much as I could. I, you know, had to pay for gas money and stuff like that in the car, and so in between sports, I worked as much as I could. You know, summer's a lot more. I think like weekends, once school would start, I'd try to work some hours on the weekends.
Do you think it's a good idea for parents to get their kids to work during high school?
100%. Yeah.
I was just telling my dad this here day because he had the theory. He's like, you have your whole life to work. I don't want you to work during high school. And like looking back, when we just went on this last hunt, I was like, Dad, like if I have anything that I would change from my childhood, it'd probably be like I'd make myself work during high school.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm hitting the ground running, or I'm like already behind when I turn 18. There's you know, against other people that have already been working throughout high school and know what the kind of the real world's like and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're going to survive either way. You know, but I think it does teach you a skill set. It teaches you some discipline for sure. But I don't know, what's your perspective, man? Like, I know once I got to college, I had a lot of friends that didn't have jobs, like in college, and I'm not so sure they had jobs in high school. Like, do you think kids have jobs in high school now? Like, what would you guess? What percentage?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot of kids in high school right now.
Yeah,
all my friends have smaller kids.
Yeah,
so.
Same.
I don't know. It seemed like when I was in high school, there was a few of my friends that had jobs, and my good buddy Matt, he worked all throughout high school, and he's really successful now. So I don't know if there's a good correlation between already getting that work ethic, or but his dad and his mom also are like hard workers too. So I think that's also something that can be passed down through just watching your parents.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, when you talk about like work ethic and discipline, like we did, like, can you get that other places? Sure. Like, I think sports are great. Yeah. Right. But like, you know, for me, I think the biggest thing working with people that weren't like me. Right. Like when I was in sports, I was around like my peers, I was around classmates. I, you know, had a couple coaches and things like that. When I was working, you know, my job, like I was working with very different people that I probably wouldn't have interacted with, especially at that age, if I didn't have that job.
Yeah. What'd you do during college for work, or did you just go to college?
No, so in college I got a job. Started out as a busboy at a restaurant over in Eagle, and then kind of worked that restaurant kind of turned over, and I didn't have a job for a little while. And then a new restaurant opened in that place, and they hired me back.
Oh, nice. So did you pay yourself then through college, or pay your way through college? Is that
I was super blessed. My parents helped me out a little bit. I was able to like work my way up into like like a serving position at that restaurant, and then move to another restaurant a little bit later on. But I did have some help from mom and dad in terms of like paying for my school bills and stuff like that. But I did pay, I paid for rent. I paid for, after my freshman year, I think I remember that I paid for rent. I paid for groceries, kind of like my living expenses. But my dad also encouraged me to buy a house my sophomore year or before my junior year of college. So I purchased a house too, and kind of ran that as a business with my friends and my roommates.
Oh, just like renting out rooms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a solid move, buying a house.
Especially at that time, right? When we look at Idaho, buying a house in 2009 was a pretty good time to buy a house.
Was it a scary purchase? Did you feel like you were like overpaying at the time, or?
I don't think there was the thought of overpayment. It was just like the price tag on a house. I'd never purchased something like that. I mean, shoot, I don't know. My most expensive purchase was at the time was probably a $5,000 1998 Audi. You know what I mean?
Was that your first car?
That was my first car out like in college. But I think what my first car was? It was a 4-banger minivan, bro. Stick shift. I could kind of chirp the tires a little bit on that thing.
I don't even know how to drive a stick shift, man. I was telling my dad that too. I was like, I wish I would have learned how to drive a stick shift first and then automatic. Like,
yeah, Sarah and I were just talking about that because she doesn't know how to drive one either. And we've considered a couple of vehicles, and she's like, well, I don't know how to drive stick. And I'm like, I find it fun. I'm like, well, let's teach you.
Yeah. I've been out with my buddy a couple times, and he's got a Toyota Tacoma that's a stick shift.
Yep.
And he's had a few too many drinks. He's like, dude, I need you to drive me home. I was like, I don't know how to drive a stick shift. He's like, it's like midnight, dude. Nobody's on the street. It's a good time to learn. And I'd be like killing the car, rolling through a stoplight. Like, I'm like, dude, how the hell do I do this shit? And he's like, oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I can remember in June, like I think it was in junior high, right after 6th grade or in junior high, like we moved out to like the edge of the town, like into the country. It was like a township. Which again gave me a lot of freedom. One of my friends lived like across the field, and so we'd 4-wheel back and forth. But before we had our 4-wheelers, I remember my dad would like come pick me up, and as the crow flies, it was like half mile, but we had to if you drove it, you had to go around like the corner of the field and stuff, and so it was maybe a mile and a half. And I remember him picking me up a few times, and that's where I learned how to drive stick shift. He'd pick me up there, and he'd teach me on the way home. And I was probably like 12 or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. When you're a farmer, you get to get your license earlier too, right?
You can get your farmer's permit there in Minnesota. I think at the time it was like, dude, I don't know, maybe 12, but I think it was 14 for some reason. And I wasn't able to get that. I didn't meet the qualifications for that. But
that's just so you can drive the tractors and stuff, right? Or is that actually for vehicles on the farm?
I think it's it's real. It's everything. Every vehicles on the farm, and maybe even like being able to drive. I don't know, maybe drive to like grain elevators and stuff like that. I'm not sure. At least on the farm for sure.
Oh man, that's so cool to be able to grow up on like a farm and have all that property and not have to worry. Like your family, they could just let you guys go outside and play and not have to worry about like things that people worry about nowadays. I don't know, maybe they still had child abductions back then, but you had 200 acres, you guys could just go play and. Yeah,
and I think back dude, when I was growing up, like there wasn't as much craziness going on in the world. It didn't seem like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but nowadays, like it really makes me reflect back and say, hey, do we want to live that way? Maybe we want to live that way.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, I know. I mean, skip it forward a lot now, but you're saying how much you like living out more in a less populated area. It's still getting big, but like outside of the main city. Dude,
the energy's just different. You know what I mean? The energy's different in a small town.
You could probably actually look up at the stars.
Yeah. I can smell the river.
Yeah. So when you're in college, you and your girlfriend and moved out together.
Yeah.
How long did that last? You and your girlfriend?
Oh man, I think we split up after our first year. Yeah.
At first year in Idaho?
Yeah. Yep. And so, you know, there was kind of that was a turning point for me, honestly. I'm like, hey, does it make sense for me to be out here? Is this where I really want to be? And I'd made some pretty cool, you know, connections, some good friends and stuff like that. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going to stick it out. Like I still really enjoyed out here. And it was probably the best move that I could have made.
Yeah. What was that like going from, I mean, you had like some kind of sense of security. You guys both came out here together and now.
Dude, that honestly, I got to thank her for breaking up with me. She broke up with me, by the way. And, cause that made me grow up, man. Like you said, I was a long ways away from home and I did have like a, you know, pretty good safety net. Like we'd go over to her parents' house every single weekend or, you know, Sunday for dinner. So there was a little bit of that like grounding and feeling like you had a safety net. And so I think that really was a big growth year for me. Now that I look back.
What kind of changes did you have to go through there personally on that growth path?
I think just feel like, dude, just, you know, I was a young kid at the time, right? Like I had a new set of friends, right? Cause we were only a year into college, but it's not like, they're not like your high school buddies you grew up with through elementary school. And so, you know, I was building strong relationships. Some of those guys ended up being some of my best friends through college. But at the time, right, like it was all still very new to me, right? I mean, a different state, going to school, I wasn't doing well in school either. So that like, there was a lot of moving parts for me, at least inside of my head, in those first couple of years of college.
Was it some party years for you in college?
Oh yeah, dude, the whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing. Yeah.
Had to live it up.
Well,
I never went to college, so I can't say like anything.
Sure.
I just knew they don't care if you show up to class or not, and I probably wouldn't be that guy to show up. So
that's funny you say that. I thought they did. I don't. I guess I didn't think they cared either. I started going into. I was taking this philosophy course. It was like philosophy 101, and looking back, literally still one of the hardest classes I ever took. I don't know why, but I was not doing well in there, so I stopped going to that class because I'm like, well, I just don't. I'm not doing well. Well, I didn't know you actually had to withdraw yourself from the class, or it would affect your GPA. I just didn't know how college worked. And so, you know, I think I got like my first withdraw fail once I figured that out.
Do you think college is worth it? For
yes,
the average person nowadays?
Yes and no, dude. Yes and no. For the average person, like I think that's such a blanket statement. I think for the person that knows what they like, they're pretty clear on the career path they want to take. I think it makes sense for that, because if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a accountant, or something like that, like there is a roadmap for that, and that is through college. If you're not sure what you want to do, I think it's one of the worst moves you can make.
Like the people that say, I just want to get my general education and start somewhere, but they don't really know where they want to go, but they're going to spend 2 years and then go and be a corrections officer. Like,
yeah, no, dude. I feel like that is like that. At least it used to be a saying, was like, hey, I'm not sure what I want to do, so I'm going to go to school. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
Or like I had buddies who were in college and they didn't know what they wanted to do, and they didn't want to leave college yet. They were having a great time. They're like, hey, I think I'm just going to go to grad school. And that was really to buy them time. It wasn't that they were interested in like more schooling. But I think the issue with that is that people say that they're going to go to school to like, hey, I'm just going to learn for right now to buy me some time. But there's very little learning for a lot of people in college. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, right. Like you're self-educated. I like as a business owner for the last decade and a half, like I've had to do a lot of self-education. That's real learning. Just because you're signed up for a degree or signed up for grad school doesn't mean you're getting educated.
Say you want to go into business. Do you think it's better to go to school for a year, it's paid 20 grand for business, or to spend 20 grand on a business mentor and learn the ins and outs of an actual how to run a business?
I don't think there's a clear answer for that, right? Because I think you could spend 20 grand with a business mentor that absolutely sucks. Or you could spend 20 grand at a college and you don't apply yourself. Right. So it all has to do with, I think, you being plugged into a system that is a system that's going to work for you. Because for me, standardized testing wasn't the best. You know, and it made me feel really dumb, and it actually helped me, or it actually brought a lot of my standards down when I was going to school. I thought, gosh, this isn't for me. I'm not smart enough. But I really think that I was interested in some of those subjects. I just didn't test well. Yeah. So, you know, so is it like, it could be the best decision ever to go to college if you're applying yourself, right? If you're interested in the subjects that you're learning and you want to learn. I just didn't find that me and a lot of my friends wanted to learn. We were like going to class because we had to and doing all the fun stuff on the side. Now, if you spent 20 grand with a mentor, right? Like if you spent 20 grand with a mentor that fits you, that brings a lot of value inside of their program, 100%, I think that's going to be more valuable. But that's real world, because you're getting real world experience at the same time.
Yeah, that's something that I feel that is, a lot of people have an education, they get all educated and everything, but the application part of it is where a lot of people might struggle. Like what they call it mental masturbation, where they're just like always trying to learn more and more and more, but they're not applying anything. And I've fallen into that myself, of just like reading all these books and doing everything, but it's like, if you're not going to apply it, then...
Well, it's kind of like philosophy. Like I understand why it's there, but like when I think of like formal school education, like a lot of that is like philosophy. It's not actual business, right? Like I went to business, I ended up getting a business degree, and I went to school for business. A lot of that was philosophy. And now that I've been in some pretty special mentorship programs, I'm like, dude, the marketing classes I took like are obsolete, and they were probably obsolete at the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because if you're learning from someone that's actually doing it, like I think we're both, in the same thing, and that it's going to be more right towards what you need, rather than like a general blanket statement of this is, like you said, marketing, or if you could find something that's actually perfect for you, and you could do that mentorship rather than just taking a blanket statement or blanket, class of just giving you.
Well, dude, our world moves so fast. Right. So when you have these, I'm sorry, but you have these older mindset teachers and professors teaching you old concepts, right? They're not reprinting the textbooks every year, right? That's not how they make money. College is a big money system, right? For colleges. So when you're getting old, you're getting old information, dude. Now that you and I are in marketing and business, like if we don't adjust literally on a monthly basis, we're not growing.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard this really good statement. It's like, if you want to pick a mentor, go to the parking lot and see who's got the better vehicles in it. Like you go and you're like, at college, probably they're going to be like a lot of older professors and stuff, but you go to like someone that's actually doing the same thing that you want to learn. Like not like everybody's going to be, like Warren Buffett doesn't drive a nice car and he's really wealthy.
Yeah, no,
right?
I get what you're saying.
But like, you look at the people, it's like if you're going to take advice from a fat doctor versus a skinny doctor, they could give you the same information, but like one's actually doing this stuff.
Dude, the reason why I laugh, I'm not laughing at you. When you said that, it made me think about this. Like, honestly, like all my friends that I made in college drove better cars, nicer cars than our professors. Now, when I look at what their parents do, they were in sales, they owned businesses. Dude, it's crazy, right? Like my friends were driving better cars than our university professors.
Yeah. I was telling Ashley this the other day, because we've been having, not issues, but like discussions about whether we should do public school or private school or homeschool. And I think that, private school kids, they get a reputation for being bratty or whatever. But
Sure.
They also have a very good advantage in life because of their surroundings. They're all high achieving, like their parents and stuff, their groups and everything. So like they're already going into stuff with a different mindset. And
they could be, right? Potentially.
Right. So I'm like, oh, man, that's a whole nother topic about like public school versus.
Which we can talk about, dude. My dad was a high school teacher for 37 years. My mom was a school board chair of our city for 25 years, man. Like I grew up in a education based family.
Yeah.
Right. And Minnesota has high educational standards for public schools even,
Right. What's your feelings on, I mean, you just became a parent a few years back, but like, what's your feelings on what you guys would like to do for your education for your kids?
Well, right now we're 100% some type of homeschooling. I don't know if that looks like, us doing it all on our own or doing some type of co-op or even some type of, hybrid type school, but we won't be sending our kids to public school. Even though public school is great for me, I think it's completely changed.
Yeah. I actually just seen a podcast from another person that's here local in Boise, and he was interviewing a West Ada School District teacher that just retired, and he's asking her, like, knowing what you know now and everything, would you put your kids in homeschool or back in public school? And she said in this day and age, she would homeschool them, because homeschooling now is not the same thing as everybody's like assuming.
Oh, dude, it was for weirdos.
Right.
Homeschooling was for weirdos back in the day.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I know, dude. So, I mean, we were just talking before we got on camera, but our kids went back to school this year from homeschool, and last year we did the homeschooling thing.
Yeah.
They wanted to do it. We're all about like giving our kids their decisions, and but we're like, if you go back and you don't like it, you're going to have to stick out the whole year. You're not going to pull out. I want you guys to like learn this lesson of you commit to something, you're doing it for the whole year. with that being said, they're going back to school already, and their attitudes have got so terrible. I'm like,
so by the way, you have to deal with it for a year too.
I was like, well, you guys, I said that you guys couldn't pull out of school, but if this attitude keeps up, I am pulling you guys out of school. This is, and I just think it's about like all these different, you know, fishbowl of attitudes and everything. And I mean, my daughter's in 5th grade too, so like that's all the puberty years and everything. So I can't blame it all on just the kids. Like, it could be whatever changes, but.
Well, dude, I think a lot of stuff comes down from parenting, right? I think like I don't mean to sound like the old crotchety guy. I think I'll be 37 in October, but I feel like I finally turned the page on like back in the day. Like I've started saying things like that, and I don't know if that hits you at like 35. How old are you again?
32.
Yeah, so that's coming for you maybe, or maybe you're already doing it. But I just think things are a lot different, and I think a lot of it is reflected in parenting, right? And like my perspective is that. Sarah and I are making sacrifices. I'm not just out here talking the talk. Like we are making sacrifices with her being an at-home mom. We sacrifice, time together, just her and I. We sacrifice, secondary income. And in this day and age, I believe that to keep up, to live a good life, a lot of people feel the need that they have to have that secondary income. And when you have that secondary income and both parents are out of the house constantly, like there isn't a lot of room for parenting. I think there can be so many different variables as to the parenting, right? Like I think some people just don't give a shit, which I like is sad, right? Like, cause now that I'm a parent, I realize how much I love my kids. But we also have a running context in my family. Like my family's pretty close. We've got a text thread, we send Instagram things, and we have good legitimate discussions, and we don't all agree. My family is a very opinionated, but a very close family, which I think is awesome. Because it allows for discussion, allows for debate, which we've basically done away with in this day and age. And, I think I haven't asked my dad directly, but it really seems like asking my parents. My mom was also a high school teacher before she retired to be home with us. I think teachers, they're not equipped with the resources that they need to be equipped with to handle these kids. And I think that they like the boundaries that they have to be able to lead kids in this day and age has been literally disintegrated by I don't know how to say it, dude, but like
entitled kids and their parents.
Yeah, no, but like what am I trying to say? Basically just like being hit with lawsuits. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we need to be hitting kids with rulers anymore they used to do at the private school, you know what I mean? But like it's very difficult to have discipline. I think teachers have a lack of resource to have discipline inside of the school, in public school in this day and age.
Yeah. And that's also too on the parents is like, because the parents will be like, taking their kids aside and everything and not giving the teacher the authority. Yeah. And not holding their kids accountable. Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of the stuff comes back to how you parent your kids.
And hey, this is one of the reasons why like now maybe I don't want my kids to be in public school is like I believe that like, hey, if I'm entrusting you to some adults, also known as teachers, like, and I'm not there, they're now the authority, right? When you're an adolescent. Yeah. I'm not so sure I trust the teachers. I'm not so sure I trust who's teaching the kids now. And that's not everyone. Like this is like, obviously I'm being opinionated right now. There are great teachers. There are fantastic teachers. And some of them are my friends. Like I have friends that are like every single year they're putting their own good hard-earned money, which they're not being paid enough, by the way, good teachers. And they're putting their own hard-earned money into their classrooms. They're putting them into the projects that their classrooms do. And so every single year when they put up like, GoFundMe or donation links, I love to donate to classrooms because I know that they're so under-resourced. But in this day and age, I know that I don't want to say just in this day and age because I'm sure we didn't have all amazing teachers back then. I just think I have even more of a distrust for certain adults in this day and age and what they're putting into our kids.
Yeah. Yeah, they're putting their own beliefs into your kids. I remember when I was in elementary. It was like in 5th grade. My dad had to have a real big talk with one of my teachers because he was not a George Bush fan and was like putting down like all of his beliefs and stuff. And we're just like, I don't know what we're talking, like we're kids. And then I went and told my dad and he's like, Why does he feel like it's his pot to tell you like anything? He's there to teach you things.
Dude,
He's
I
like bringing
don't.
his politics into. So like,
Yeah. And dude, I don't believe that Fox News belongs in a public school. I don't believe that CNN belongs in a public school. I believe that we're there to educate because God put a gift in every single one of us kids as to who we're supposed to be. And an education system is supposed to be just that. It's supposed to educate you, and it's supposed to stimulate your own brain to go out and form your own decisions, your own opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a little bit off track there, but
I think it's a good. Dude, I think that's a good subject.
Yeah,
bro. I think it's a big one, and you're living it right now because you have kids in school. And dude, before you know it, Carson's we're gonna be making these decisions, dude. That's like a year and a half or 2.5 years away, and I don't completely know what we're doing, you know.
Yeah, I wish our kids were closer. We just do a co-op.
Yeah, we may do something like that, but like Sarah, like dude, we kind of have roles, and not that it's all on her, but I'm hoping that she has some strong opinions about it, and I know that she's researching right now as to what's going to be the best for our kids.
That's great. I mean, who knows what it'll be like in a couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so back to your college. How long did you go to college for? Did you get your degree?
Yeah, so I told you that I wasn't that great at school. I did graduate in 4 years, and that was due to, luckily taking some college courses when I was in high school. We had that opportunity being in a little bit bigger city. We had a university there. And so honestly, knocking out some of those credits really helped me get ahead, which for me ended up just helping me be on time, on 4 years. Every single one of my other friends extended out to 5 years, and that was for probably recreational purposes. But between some summer school classes that I did need to take just to, get me into the right classes during the year, I was able to graduate in 4 years.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Get out of college. What's life like then?
Get out of college, dude. I think we should back up. I didn't know what I wanted to do coming out of college. I was graduating in 2011, and there weren't a whole lot of jobs available. So when I was getting out of college, there were a lot. I started looking, and it's like at the time I think it was like Monster, like that was like a website for jobs, and it just felt very weird because growing up in the educational system, which I think a lot of us are, like we've had, back in high school, we have a guidance counselor, right? And they get us in with all the colleges, and it's just like, this is what you do. This is what you do, right? And then we get into college and we have an academic advisor. This is what you need to do. And then you're getting close to graduating, and there's not really anyone there to like, potentially, unless you have a great relationship with like a good professor, or you're really kind of like leaning into a certain profession or something like that, you're kind of on your own as to like what's going to happen next. And I very much felt that way. I didn't know what the heck was going to happen next. I thought, hey, I'm making pretty good money as a server. But the lifestyle, like I knew that like, hey, I worked with some people that had been serving for a long time, and that was what they wanted to do. But I just thought, hey, that's not the lifestyle I want to live. And if I keep doing that, I might get kind of caught up in this wheel. So I'll be honest, I was lost. I was lost getting close to the end of college. And, going back to like, what jobs were available. I remember interviewing for, like a Northwestern Mutual, like an internship. And
you got your degree in like a surgeon thing, or what?
No, yeah. So I switched. I wasn't doing too well in school. Like, my averages were down. I had a slight scholarship. Actually, it's a pretty good scholarship that got me like in-state prices during that freshman year. But when my GPA dropped below 3.0, I lost that. So, dude, that's another thing. My parents never made me feel guilty, and like I talked to you about, they really helped me out with school. So hitting my family with probably that financial, like doubled my tuition was, like, dude, that had to my parents had to feel it, and they never made me feel that, but at that point I thought, hey, I need to kind of go general. I probably heard from my advisors that I wasn't going to have a very easy time getting into med school unless I'd start retaking classes and getting my GPA up. And so honestly, as I started to feel bad about the way that I was, doing grade wise, which again, I don't think your intellect is dependent upon, your standardized testing skills, but really on the inside, as a young person, it was wearing on me. It made me self-conscious. I thought, hey, maybe I can't become a doctor. And so I did end up switching my major to like a general business major. And then I graduated with an entrepreneurial management degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted to get into, what was it, mutual
So I had an interview for an internship, and really that's all I was finding. It was like 2011, not a lot of jobs. What I saw happening is like corporations, letting go the 50-year-old, the 45, 50-year-olds, letting them go because they didn't want to pay out pensions, and hiring the people who had work experience who were in their 30s, and they could give them a base pay, maybe half of what they were paying those 50-year-olds, and incentives, right? And when you're 30 or, 20s, 30s with experience and you don't have kids, like you have time to put in 50, 60, 70 hours, which again, I think is reflective of what we like. All this is a cycle. When we talk about like parents being able to like just have a standard of living that they want to live, and be like the way that like the corporation is designed is to create profit, right? So if we can let go a bunch of people that we are going to have to pay pensions that we were paying full time, and now we can pay a different group of people, a base pay plus incentives. We get better work at, we get people working harder, we get people putting in more hours, and it's a little bit of a vicious cycle, I think, on the family nucleus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so there are unpaid internships available to me. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but that's where like where business started for me. So my brother and sister-in-law had gotten involved in actually a network marketing company, and were doing very, very well. And so I thought, hey, I'm not finding a lot of interesting things at all in Monster or whatever the job search engine sites were at the time. And I said, hey, I'll move back to the Midwest to learn what you guys are doing, and then come back out here to Idaho and do it.
What was that?
So they're doing Herbalife. They still currently doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you moved back out to Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Moved back to Minnesota, and the model that we still run is based off of like, kind of like a blend of like a smoothie shop as well as a coffee shop, but with like high protein drinks and energy drinks and things like that. And so that's the concept that I went back home to learn so that I could come out here and duplicate.
Yeah. So how long did you go back out there for? And then you came back out, and that's when you started up your business?
Yeah. So I moved back to Minnesota, to like the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. My brother and sister-in-law had moved down from the Fargo area where they had built a tremendous business, and they were wanting to open a new market. And so my intention was that I told all my roommates, my friends are living with me, and half of them were still going to college. I said, hey, I'm out of here, but I'll be back in 3 months. And it took me 5 years to get back to Idaho, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, so a lot happened in between there.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, we learned a lot of business lessons. We ended up not planting business up in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and unbeknownst to any of us thought, we actually moved back to our hometown, which was like not something we were interested in at the time, and not something that we are like it was a complete surprise. Back
to Mankato.
Mm-hmm.
And then what'd you do there?
So there was an opportunity to get a business up and running. There was one that was failing back there, and we, literally opened doors for pennies on the dollar on this place and absolutely blew the roof off it with success. And that's really where a lot of my business learning lessons, that's where they all started.
What was it like going into business for the first time, taking on that kind of responsibility? And you're having to make sure that everything runs rather than working for somebody else and getting a paycheck. And
yeah, dude, it wasn't intimidating because I had great leadership, great mentorship. Like I was doing this with my brother and sister-in-law who had been doing it for a while. So it didn't feel like a lot of responsibility. Like a lot of the responsibility was on them, and it slowly just became my ownership as well. Like, the ownership of responsibilities and things like that. So it was like having great mentors made it, of course there were lessons that I learned and things like that, but it probably didn't even feel as daunting or as big as my first home purchase,
Was that your first real experience with mentorship?
I would say, yeah. Outside of like high school sports, I had some really great coaches that were definitely, looking back, were definitely great mentors in my life, in my youth. But yeah, for sure. In terms of like, I want mentorship. Yeah.
Was there a good separation between like family and business? So you knew like now it's business time. We're not going to be like family right now, or
no. And I think that's where that's where a lot of learning came in. Like, doing business with family isn't always the easiest thing. And so I would say like me and my brother have like been through it, and we're like I know he's like right now, like he's always had my back, but like, you know, we had some times where we were grinding gears a little bit. And I think that, that's normal for brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think we were both very young, new business owners and things like that. So, learning to, wear, business cap, family cap, like it was pretty much non-existent.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories about people going into business with family, and it's rare that it works out, but when it does, I mean, it seems like it goes good, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think I'm grateful that me and my brother both like have the maturity and the ego. And honestly, I think I had to mature the most. I'll tell you right now, I was probably the biggest problem. It takes two to tango, but like, it was probably me. So like having some maturity, with, and some personal development growth in myself, I think is what's really brought us back together. But really, like I think that's the only way that like families, when we talk about like business and people who like have grudges, if they've been in business with family, it's simply because they haven't like you got to mature at some point if you want to reconcile anything, right? Like if you and your wife are having a disagreement, like it takes maturity to get past that, just like anything else.
You have to be able to say my fault.
Yeah. Or drop your ego and say, hey, what is our goal here? Is our goal to be pissed off at each other? Is our goal to not have a relationship as brothers? Is our goal to build business? Like, of course, all of those things. That's going to take some maturity, and it's going to, you're going to have to kick your ego out the door.
Yeah. So everything has seasons in life, and that was a season of your life. Did you have anything really else going on besides the business for those 5 years of just trying to grind?
Yeah. So I met my ex-wife during that time. She was actually so we're like the business we're in is health and wellness, and I'm still in this business. And so she ended up being she was a past high school, teammate of my sister-in-law's. And, so she was one of her clients. And so that's how we met.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, how long that last? I mean,
yeah, so
you said ex-wife, so it had to go pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, so we got married pretty quickly, and I don't want to say it was like young love or anything like that. Definitely that relationship so far in my life this far has been like my biggest probably growth moment as a man, as myself. But we were married for almost 9 years. Yeah. Girls
making you grow, dude. The first one left you when you came out to Boise, and then
Yeah, I had to work on like how to act in relationships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was there a lot of growing up, like just maturing wise of, I don't know. I've only been with my wife for,
yeah.
So I don't know.
No, for me, I think relationships, are the most important and most valuable things that we have on this earth, whether it's your relationship with your kids, whether it's your romantic relationship, business relationships, things like that. Like those are I believe the most important things that we have. And for me, I didn't have a good relationship with myself. So I showed up inside of these relationships as not the best version of myself, And so once it took some failure, right? To like have real self-evaluation. And I got that through divorce.
Where did that stem from, the not best version of you? Was it just like,
I think a lot of things. I think a lot of things, dude. I think like boundaries, boundaries in business, boundaries personally, as well as like feeling like I have to be someone for someone else versus just be myself. So being like people pleasing, just different attachment issues and things like that.
Yeah, that's a hard one. So how long were you guys together before you came back out to Boise then?
Yeah, so we were, I think I was there for 5 years. We're probably together for probably about like 6 years. 6 years before I guess 5, I'm trying to do the math in my head. We moved out here back out here in like January of 2017.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
and then I got divorced in like 21. So I don't know what the math is. So what made you want to
come back out to Boise then? Did you want to start a business out here?
Yeah. So a little bit of like everything that we just talked about there. My heart was always to come back out here, right? Like it was, kind of a goal. A lot of my college friends and stuff had moved on by then, moved back home or moved around. So it wasn't necessarily to like get back with friends and stuff like that. But like Idaho called me, dude. Like it's a beautiful place. You know, you and I appreciate it for so many of the things like the natural resources and stuff. But I also looked at it as like a huge opportunity. There wasn't much of our business going on out here. And so it was always something that like I wanted to do. And at the same time, you know, my relationship with my ex-wife wasn't great and my relationship with my brother wasn't great. And so I think that it was a recipe for thinking that moving somewhere else is going to fix everything. And it didn't.
All those problems just came out with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't just moving doesn't, you know, doesn't deal like moving, getting into a new relationship, moving does nothing if you have lessons to learn on the inside of yourself.
Sure. So you're trying to fix the wrong problem.
Yeah. Or you know, putting Band-Aids over things that weren't the root problems, which was me.
Yeah. Do you think that in the long run, though, that coming out here and leaving your hometown did help with that growth process?
Absolutely not, because everything that needed to grow was inside of me. I mean, I actually think it made it worse because I brought new challenges. You know, you move, you start new locations. There's new challenges, right? And so those challenges can add to the stress. They can add to the tension. And so I think it probably made it worse or got it closer to a breaking point.
Yeah. It's funny how a lot of the best learning lessons in life are when you're so close to failure or
they're really
failure,
tough.
You know?
Yeah, when it's really tough.
Which, I mean, you could transition this whole thing into like, there's a plan for everything, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
100%.
And that's one thing that I'm really appreciative of meeting you, is that you've helped me with my walk of faith. But looking back at everything, I mean, you had to look at that and see like there's a plan. Obviously, that's, you know, you met your wife now, and
looking back, it's much easier, right?
Yeah.
At the time,
Hindsight,
I didn't know what
dude.
the heck, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you come out here and you open a business. How was that?
Horrible. So we opened in the wrong location. We had a lot of friends. Man, I just learned this on my mentorship call yesterday that like I can still slip into some of my old habits of like fear of missing out or FOMO, right? And I got straight with my mentor yesterday on the things that I need to work on because I was just getting distracted by all the resources that we've got inside of our program, the program that you and I are in. And I just got back from an incredible event where I have a notebook full of things where I'm like, I want to implement it all. And there just isn't time. And so I would say this, like it was a perfect recipe of like, we found a location that we thought was going to be great. I honestly thought it was going to be great. We had a lot of friends all around the country that were implementing some new exciting stuff. And so I wanted to pull the trigger and be open immediately. And it ended up just being a bad location.
Did you end up closing that shop or what happened?
Yeah, dude, that was probably some of the most difficult like financial times for me because we were doing well before we moved out here. And that place was just an absolute money pit and money suck. And so, you know, relationship, you know, with the ex-wife, not in a good place. Many of our highs and lows depended on where our income levels were, or where the cash was coming in and when it wasn't. And so, that was a really, really difficult time. I was at the point where I was wanting to sell things like our cars just to get out of our contracts that we had for that location. We still had a vision for a business, right? Like the vision never died, which I think was really, really important, but we knew that place had died. And so it was like, how can we move past this faster? Luckily, we didn't need to sell things. We weathered it. We had we had written a great contract, which kind of saved our rear ends of having to, pay extensively after a year. And we moved our business downtown.
Nice. Were you guys both working in the business together?
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of your income was dependent on the business. It wasn't like you were doing your own thing and she was working. So
exactly. Yeah. We did, so our income was, solely dependent on both of us, right? We didn't have that outside income, which in hindsight, like my ego is too big. I've had these thoughts in my head, just like just reflection thoughts of like, hey, if something like this happens again, or if something, and I'm not bringing it on that it will, but it's like I had such a big ego back then that I wouldn't go get a job because I was so worried about what other people would think about me if I went and got a job as an entrepreneur, which maybe is like some feelings you and I can talk about because you're making a big leap too, bro.
Yeah, no, I definitely was just thinking that same thing of, yeah, things don't go the way you think they will, and a lot of times with business, they say it'll take it much longer than you think it will,
and more work than you think it will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just the fear of what other people are gonna think, man, that's been such a big one for me. Just had to get over, and I think like we were talking last night, and I said, like, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, then you'll change.
Yep.
And like just that pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of me thinking of what other people might be thinking, which they're not even really
It's
thinking
so
probably what
stupid.
yeah. And it's like, I need to just get over that. And once you can get over that, then whatever, right? Like, why am I letting someone else's potential thoughts predict my future when it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, when you lay it out like that, it sounds like completely stupid to both of us, right? It's easy when you talk it through. It's not logical that we care what other people think because they're not living our lives. And to be honest, like the people you think care don't actually give a shit. And so obviously that's something deeply rooted inside of us. This is one of the things that I had to have some maturity around. I think it's something that made me operate poorly in a relationship. My identity was completely based on how I was doing in business, not the value, not the human, not the person that I was. And so when business wasn't good, I probably showed up as one of the ugliest people you could ever, find.
Throughout this whole thing, did you have a strong relationship in faith, or were you kind of like falling apart, and that's where a lot of like maybe the fear came in? Or
I always felt like a calling. I grew up in like going to church, going to Sunday school and things like that, going through confirmation. I grew up in a Lutheran church, very, formal religion. But I always I had faith, but I would say the relationship there wasn't strong. Man, I was in like the darkest times of my life that I've felt, during some of that time, some of those years. And I will say, like, I was plugging in actually to an online resource. And actually we were exploring some churches here in Idaho. It just wasn't much of an interest to both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't think I could be doing what I'm doing right now if I didn't start my walk last year, because it'd be so tough right now, man. I mean, I know already the fear and everything of failure is huge.
It's tremendous, right?
The fear of other people's thoughts.
Especially when you have a family.
Yeah. 4 kids and giving them like a lifestyle that and that's the other part too, is like I think I need to work really hard, and I need to I'm staying up late doing things I need to do, but at the end of the day, you really need to realize that my kids don't really care about our income. They just want time with me. So
yeah, I'm realizing that too, bro.
That's kind of a hard one to remember in the time, and to remember you're in the good times while you're in the good times. But
yeah. Well, I've said this to a bunch of different people, but I'm like, I think you can probably relate or confirm what I'm saying. But like, if you want to have a strong relationship, like say you are trying to grow your faith, like one of the best ways to have a strong relationship is to be an entrepreneur, because it is unlike anything, dude. And I'm not so sure that you can have the success that you want if you don't have a relationship with God, because you're gonna be brought down to your knees sometimes daily, for maybe months on end. And if you don't have a system of trust, if you don't have a good outlook, which you get that from a faith-based relationship, like it's gonna be tough. Your stress is gonna lead you to things that are not going to help you. Right? They might tear apart other areas of your life.
I've heard a lot of successful people online, celebrities, athletes, whatever, like business people, and they all say, good luck being successful in any endeavor you go in if you don't have a strong walk in faith, because you might be successful, but then the things that you'll end up doing that will ruin you in the end, or you won't be making the right decisions with the money that you make, and eventually it's not going to end up well.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that I had a strong relationship with faith or anything like that as I was getting started, but it's definitely grown, right? And I don't know, I'm not sure how I could have gotten through the stuff that I've gotten through probably over the last 5 years if I didn't. So I don't think you need to have one in order to pull the trigger on taking some risk. I don't think you need to have one to become an entrepreneur, but I think it's a great time to start exploring, because you're going to need it.
Really helps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened with you guys? Ended up getting a divorce?
Yeah. So shoot, man, a lot happened, right? Like COVID happened. We had a location-based business. I think we went from having like 15 locations on our team down to, I think it was like 6 or something like that through COVID. And
Oh, were you guys still all together with your brother at this point, even when you moved
this
out?
was just on our team. My brother has a much larger
Oh,
business.
you had multiple locations.
Yeah,
as well.
and we didn't own those, but people who were on our team, so we were earning royalties from those locations, and depending on how those local government bodies operated, it was really difficult for a lot of the people on our team, and it was difficult for us. Like, we saw our numbers completely flip. We were generating a tremendous amount of income and revenue, and we had worked really tough to get it there. Like, it was not an easy, we made the move and it wasn't like the light just clicked on. Like, we had to put in a lot of hard work, and the people who were doing it with us did too. And, overnight, people's behaviors changed, right? They weren't going to work. And when you're a consumption-based business in a downtown area that literally turns into a ghost town overnight, things completely flip the switch, right? So, and we weathered that. We made it through that. But like a lot of the people on our team didn't. It took some deep soul searching. It took a lot of creativity, a lot of different marketing. And if you weren't willing to put in the work, you didn't survive.
How did you guys make it through?
Just different marketing content, different marketing.
You were a smoothie shop, a smoothie
yeah,
tea.
right. Like, think about it like a coffee shop, man. People come to you on a daily basis. So we were doing all sorts of stuff. We were doing fundraisers and raising money to, drop off all of our goods, all of our nutritious stuff to essential workers, which that was, we really wanted to do that. We wanted to give, but that was also good publicity for us. And dude, we had to grind to get people in the doors, just trying different marketing concepts. Whether it was like, hey, are we going to do delivery now? Or are we going to come up with things that, people really feel like they need, right? Like, a lot of gyms struggle at this time because everyone bought a Peloton, right? So it was like these, like, human beings' behaviors changed overnight instead of like going to Orange Theory and then coming to us for their post-workout. And so it's like, hey, how do we fill a need that they still have? Whether it's immune boosters or whether it's, just keeping up with the health and wellness trends.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be the reason why you ended up being successful, was because you were able to adapt where other people weren't able to do that. But that's just a different mindset that you were in.
Yeah. And not everything we tried worked, man. It was like, pounding your head against the cement sometimes, trying to figure out how can we relate to people? How can we get them out of the house? It wasn't just like the government shutting down stuff. It was literally people were being fear-mongered into staying in their homes. People were scared.
Were you guys considered essential?
Yeah, we were.
Nice.
Yep.
That
was good.
If they would have told you weren't essential,
yeah. And it was difficult because the city next door, I mean, we're in downtown Boise, the city of Meridian had completely different regulations. So business was like as usual out there. And a lot of our people commuted into the downtown area, right? So if you think about a large portion of your customer base not commuting into the downtown area anymore, the restrictions not being the same in the city that they live in, a lot of your business starts to go elsewhere.
So you guys ended up getting a divorce. How many years into COVID?
Oh shoot, I think that was probably end of COVID. Probably 2021, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what was that like going through? This is your first divorce.
Hell, my only divorce, bro.
Right.
Yeah, but it was hell.
First.
Let's just start out with like how I felt about divorce, man. Like, I was super, like, again, consider someone like me who, already my perception of myself, my identity was based on my success, in my business. What do you think? It was obviously rooted probably in the success of my marriage at the time. So I had a lot of like shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of imposter. I didn't want anyone to know what was going on. And, so it was like incredibly hard.
Yeah. Cause I mean, you're downtown Boise. I'm sure everybody
Small
knows
town.
You and your wife work together, so everybody knows everybody, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. If you work down there and you own a business, it's a really small town, and so I don't know. People start questioning what's happening based off of social media. Like, bro, you won't like. You and I were just talking about this before we jumped on. It's like wild the people that will reach out to you to ask you about your personal life that have no business asking you about your personal life, and people are doing that to me daily. So mix that with like me already being very uncomfortable with who I already am. Was like just a wrecking ball for me.
Yeah, they just want to get the gossip. They don't really care about the person.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So how long did did that whole process take, and how was that separation with like the business and everything?
Yeah, I think like generally speaking, like the process of like us being separated and divorced probably lasted like 6 months, 8 months. And that was like, obviously tremendously painful, a lot of unknowns and things like that. But at the same time, I had to maintain a positive attitude, right? And I had to maintain a professional attitude inside of my business with my employees and with my customers. So it was really, it was difficult.
How do you do that? How do you do that with your mentality? Like what kind of things did you have to just keep telling yourself to show up for everybody else and not show the pain you were going through?
Yeah, dude, you know what? I like in hindsight, like I didn't share that pain, and now I'm, that I've had some growth, right? Like, and I've healed from some stuff. I think it's important for me to share some of that pain, and I probably don't do it as much as I need to, because I know there's a lot of people going through similar stuff. It's never the same for people, and it doesn't have to just be divorce. It can be something else that's like just, wrecking your world, right? And I think I didn't share those things. But I think the way that I got through it was I had a great family support system. I felt very alone. Again, I don't have any family out here. So I had, I had some good employees, but I had, my brother really stepped in. My brother and my sister really stepped in. They were always there for me. I think my discipline to not give up, all those things that you pick up even from your youth of like discipline and not giving up, because basically I wanted to curl up, you know what I mean? And, the one thing that I realized that I think was one of my biggest awarenesses through divorce is that no one can fix anything for you. No one can help you get through it. They can be there for you, but like I had such a great support with like my brother, with my dad. But what I remember one day just realizing like these guys love me more than anything. And if they could do something for me, they would. But there's literally nothing they can do for me. I need to grow and I need to heal through this. So what I realized is although they would have done anything for me to fix my situation, to get me out of the situation, I was there by myself and I had to heal and I had to mature. And I think that's where the faith part of things like really became an aha moment. I was alone, but God was always there with me, even if my family couldn't be.
Yeah, you never left your side no matter all the things that you had to go through.
Exactly.
I had to learn that too, of even though the times that I thought that God wasn't with me, looking back, I can see that everything that I went through was still his plan. And I went through all that for a reason. And it's crazy to think about that in the moment you're going through it, right? Like you can't see it, but as soon as it's over and you look back, you're like, there's so many interwebs that had to happen, and I had to go through this pain to make me meet this person or whatever.
And I think it's a pretty common denominator. I mean, you're around, faithful people now, dude, but like a lot of people find their faith at their worst moments.
So I'm dealing with like a couple friends that are like having issues with their relationship right now. And I was asking them like, when was the last time that you guys had the most confidence? And like, when was the last time that you were in the best shape of your life? Right. And he was like, oh, when I went through my divorce, and then before I met my current wife, I was at my best weight, and I was down to like, I don't know, whatever he said.
Sure.
But, and I was like, and how are you now? He's like, I'm probably, one of the worst areas. And I just think there's a direct correlation between when you guys get together, you're both in the best shape of your life. You both have the most confidence. You have that spark. You have energy to do stuff together. And then you get comfortable, and now all that stuff goes away. And now you don't have the confidence and everything. And now you guys want to get a divorce because you don't have that same energy as when you got before. But of course, like, you literally can't have the same energy when your bodies go. Your bodies aren't going to only thing. They're going to be suffering. Your mind's going to suffer. Your confidence towards each other. You're going to start thinking different things. Like you won't be able to react to the stress the same way. You're not even the same person anymore. So of course, and then you get a divorce, and then you go through it, and now you're working out and getting back into shape. Like I just feel, and yeah, I'm based now because I'm in fitness, and I just can realize in my own relationship too. When Ashley and I got together in high school, both great shape, together for a while, I was out of shape more than she ever was. She had some kids. Obviously, we had kids together, and so she gained some weight on that. But she never really got overweight like I did. And we got close to divorce. Like, I remember one night we both drinking, which was a big problem for us, was the drinking. But I remember just telling her, like, I don't know that I love you anymore. And I was like, I never said that before to her before. And so it was a big thing, but worst shape of my life too. And, like, looking back, I'm so thankful that I found fitness to be able to get into shape, because I don't think we would still be together, just because there was so many things that I personally had to change to make me into a better person, to be able to take accountability for a lot of things that I was doing. I had to, just see that the drinking was obviously a thing. Just the way I was reacting, I would say the hardest or the worst things that I could think of, like, because I was so insecure with myself that I would take that out on others.
Yeah.
But the point of this whole thing is, I just think if people were to take their health seriously before they get a divorce, that things might be different. And I know that there's different circumstances for some divorces, like some cheating and things that maybe you can't repair. But for the general person that's just having marriage issues, or they feel like they're falling out of love, I feel like fitness could really save both of your guys' lives and marriages. And if you're a father, a mother, like, this is things that you got to be able to teach your kids too.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on that, dude, are that, like, I'm not sure that your six pack is going to save your marriage, but I do think that your fitness is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Right. And I think that's what you're going for, is, like, if you've let yourself go and your marriage is already, like, really struggling based off of a number of different things, right? Stressors, just like you talked about, like, going to work, you're talking about your personal fitness as maybe a starting place to start to work on yourself, right? The reason why your relationship isn't good isn't the other person's fault, outside of, like, like you talked about infidelity and stuff like that. It's literally like your relationship with anyone, a relationship with a best friend. Like, it's a reflection of the two people showing up as the best versions, right? Like, if one friend is crappy and the other friend keeps showing up, like, it's just a matter of time until there's just no deposits coming in from one side. They're gone. Same thing goes for your relationship, right? So if you've both gotten out of shape, get in shape together. I think that's a great spot to start. It's not going to repair, like, it's one benchmark for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think it's easier too for, like, you to have conversations together than if you and your wife are just sitting together talking, versus, like, you guys going on a walk together. You're side by side. Sure, you could be walking, doing something together, working out. Yeah. And the neural pathways that come when you're just working out, resistance training, dude, I feel like I've had so many breakthroughs in my own life from just some of the shit that I went through as a kid. And, like, I've gone through therapy as a kid before, and nothing came close to the mental clarity that I got just from going to the gym and having some breakthroughs. And my stepmom now is a psychologist, and she's really good with, like, the brain and all that kind of thing. She knows how that works. And I just asked her one day, like, is there some kind of correlation? She's like, yeah, it just opens up these neural pathways. And, like, because I was like, there's things that I haven't ever thought about. I thought I just threw them under the rug, and then I'd be working out, and all of a sudden it'll just hit me, right? And I'd be like, I don't know where this came from. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, when you work out, like, it'll just bring up these neural pathways, and you'll remember things, and, like, things will happen. And I'm like, this is amazing. I wish that people would have pitched going to the gym for the mental clarity and the things that came through than any of the muscles ever.
Dude, I just have to say this. A study just came out, and it says a study of 128,000 people finds that exercise is 1.5 times more effective than medication or therapy for reducing depression and anxiety, especially in older adults. Like, dude, you literally just, like, you've experienced that. Yeah. It's crazy. And I just posted that in my client group, and everyone's like, dude, this is what I've noticed since I started, working on my fitness. Every single one of my clients has noticed a difference mentally in their stress. Like, every single one can notice that difference just as much as their weight loss. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And for you, fitness has pretty much always just been a thing, right? Like, has always just been kind of part of your life. Seem like you're in shape. I mean, but I can't just judge a book by a cover, because I've not always been in shape.
Well, I've been helping people with weight loss for like 15 years. I love helping people with weight loss. And for me, like, it didn't start with weight loss for me, but it started with the same problem I think that people have with weight loss. That's why I can relate, or I feel like I can coach people on that. is like the way that we feel about ourselves comes from someplace, right? Like whether you're overweight or you're underweight. And for me, I was underweight. And what that did is it wrecked my confidence. It really felt like it stole from some opportunities for me, like as an athlete, because I was skinny. Right. So feeling really skinny and self-conscious, like is a similarity to feeling like overweight and self-conscious. Right. And so the mindsets are the same thing. We need to, and it's right. Like everything's mindset, dude, when it comes to like getting into better shape, whether you need to like put on some weight, put on some muscle, or if you need to lose weight in a healthy way. And so, yeah, I guess, fitness has been a part of my life because I feel like that's where my trauma comes from, right? Being made fun of in high school, like having an older brother that could kind of beat on me a little bit, right? That put a chip on my shoulder at an early age. And I started to find, I probably started to feel the changes mentally. It felt really good to work out. But then when you start seeing a little bit of progress, through learning how to eat healthy, through, hitting the weights a little bit, and you go, wow, I'm starting to feel more confident. I'm taking care of myself more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I never really thought of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that's skinny, they're having the same issues.
You still don't feel good about yourself,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's very reflective in the way that you show up, right? It's called a lack of confidence, right? So you can lack confidence no matter how you look if you're not at your where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's cool that you decided that you found a purpose and you wanted to really just go all in because you were doing the smoothie stuff and everything. Yeah. But at what point was it that you realized that you just wanted to go all in on just helping people instead of doing a brick and mortar location?
Yeah. So, I want to be clear. I'm still in the same business, which is helping people. It's helping them lose weight. And I was doing that from a bricks and mortar shop, and now I'm doing it like 100% online. So there's a few different reasons why I did that. There are a lot of different things that go into running a storefront in terms of employees, systems, and there's systems for an online business too, which you and I are both learning. And so it's just a different set of systems, and those systems seem to align a little bit better with my lifestyle right now. We just started having kids. I wanted to have that flexibility. I truly see it as a way to be able to help more people. Like, I just think this is a little bit more scalable for my current life. And so definitely supplementation is still a large portion of what I do. It's what I teach inside of my program, how to eat a well-rounded diet. But most of the people I work with are top achievers. They might be top achieving, moms. I work with a few different CEOs and executives, right? And then I work with a bunch of different business owners. So I look at all those people, like if you're a top achiever in whatever arena you're in, whether that's being the best stay-at-home mom or the best business owner, supplementation is going to help you out on your journey because you're busy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Going back just a little bit now, after your divorce,
yep.
How long before you met Sarah?
Yeah. So, it may be relatively quick to some people, but, in self-reflection, I thought I didn't want that previous marriage to end. I was scared. I was, I judged people for getting divorced. I thought God looked down on it, all these different mindsets that I had to work through and kind of heal through. But, once I started really dude, I almost thought I got really, I'm kind of wired this way, and you might be wired this way in a little bit too. But if I get into something, I get really into it, right? A little bit addictive in some things, and that's probably why I'm into fitness and, into different, hunting and stuff like that. But I got really interested in the way that I was operating in relationships because I knew that it was holding me back, and I knew that I wanted another relationship. I was still damaged goods. I was hurting. I was in an ugly state, but I knew that I wanted another relationship, but I didn't want to go, I couldn't afford to go through, I couldn't afford it. Literally, I couldn't afford to go through what I had gone through before. And so I thought, hey, I need to really learn who I am, right? And the way that I'm operating inside of relationships. And the best part is I think it's really what helped me attract Sarah, but I think it's what helps me inside of relationships with guys like you now, you know what I mean? Knowing a little bit more about that. So I got so involved with studying how I was operating inside of obviously a romantic relationship, because that's what had failed in the past, that I thought, man, like maybe I'll become like a relationship counselor, which is so random.
Yeah.
You know?
So how'd you guys meet?
So the way that Sarah and I met, you asked how long. I'm trying to. It was probably a year and a half or so.
Okay.
After like my divorce was final.
Yeah.
And we actually met at a Cole Swindell concert out here in Nampa. Yeah.
You know, back up a little bit though. Like, I want to talk about what was life like recouping from a divorce before you even wanted to start hitting that dating pool, or like that self work that you had to do. Like, someone that's going through a divorce, because I know it's something you're passionate about, helping others going through divorces and stuff. Like, what kind of things would somebody need to work on?
Well, if you don't want to experience that same lesson again, like I told you, I didn't want to experience that same lesson again. You have to start operating differently, and you have to like go through some growth, some personal development. And so it was kind of crazy, dude. Like, I know for some people it might be opposite, where like you want to drink more, maybe you want to like, put yourself out there more physically with people, maybe like hibernate a little bit more inside of like video games, for guys and stuff. And for me, I was hurting so much and I didn't want to hurt like that again, that it's really surprised like that I didn't kind of go that other, like, I mean, most people go that other direction. I got really addicted to learning about, like I said, my relationship and like how I was operating as a human being inside of a relationship. And so for me, like, dude, I put a lot of my extra time into that. Like, I wasn't just passing time. I mean, I was hurting quite a bit, which I think motivated me. The hurt motivated me.
So you're just studying you.
Yeah. And I have my day-to-day operations. I'm running a business.
Right.
I have employees. So like my life was full of daily operational things. But in terms of like, my inside, if you would have opened me up, bro, like I was ripped to shreds. Right. And I think that sometimes that needs to happen to you because your heart gets so hardened to the situation that you're in, to the way that you've been living for me, it was 9 years, that like your heart needs to get broken open before it can like have some new growth. Right. Like, where I'm always going to have the scar of like that I went through divorce. Like, that isn't my identity, but like, that's part of my heart, like, the healing of that. And so what was it like? Like, I just doubled down on myself. I'll tell you what, like, I mean, in a way it was a little bit more simple, bro. I ate the same meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I used one fork, one spoon, one plate, and one bowl, bro. Like, I went back to bachelor life. And I will say, I won't say it was the best shape of my life, but it was like the leanest I ever got, for sure. But that's just because like it wasn't that I was working towards that. Like, fitness was already a part of me. I'm helping other people. I had that accountability already. But, when you talk about like, the fastest way to get results is to like be really consistent. Like, all the variables that would have brought inconsistency in my life were gone because it was just me and my dogs.
Yeah. That's a country song.
Yeah, that's right, bro. Yeah.
All right. Cole Swindell, you meet Sarah.
Bro, I can remember it perfectly. Yeah. It was a Thursday night concert. I wasn't going to drink. I was kind of like, I was doing really well and not, drinking too much and stuff through everything, that I'd been through. But I love going to concerts, love, drinking my Coors. And, I wasn't going to, drink that night. I was going to DD, and then someone else ended up being the DD. Anyways, I remember waiting with my friend, going to the restroom, and I was there right next to the merch line. And, out here in Idaho, girls are dressed to the nines at probably any show, but especially country shows, right?
Yep.
And so there's a lot of, done up ladies around. And I just remember like the first time I saw Sarah, she was in the merch line, and bro, I was like speechless. I was like, she is like, dude, it was like, just, there's women everywhere. I'm single. And dude, she just stood out to me. And I'm like, oh man, she is like, and she looked just like beautiful, right? Like, I was like, she's married or like is a mom, or, there was just some essence about her that was like very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think anything of it, but I like, for some reason, I remembered that she was wearing snakeskin boots. That's important for the story because like I told you, I wasn't the DD. And so, I had the beer was pouring at the country concert, right? And I didn't realize, but I think I'd walked past her a few different times. She was the group of friends. I was a group of friends. And apparently I had made eye contact with her. I didn't remember that part of the story a couple of times. And, you know, halfway through the show, I did in fact realize it was her. And because of those snakeskin boots, I'm like, snakeskin boots. I'm like, that's that girl from the merch line. And by the time I got from the snakeskin boots back up to confirm that it was actually her, she was looking this direction too. And so it was just, from there, man, it was, you know, we exchanged numbers, and I never in my wildest dreams would I have, like, she lived in a different state. She lived in California at the time. She was up here visiting friends. And so when I found that out, we'd exchanged numbers, and I, you know, found out she wasn't from here. I thought, oh, well, this will probably, you know, not turn into anything. Yeah.
So how'd you follow up with that?
Let's see. So she went back. Oh, you know what? She was only in town for another like day and a half or so, and she was there visiting some friends. And she said, "Hey, like I'm leaving, but I'll be back in like 3 weeks for one of her friends' weddings." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you know." And she said, "Hey, like I'd like to grab coffee." And literally, like I think we became friends on Instagram or something like that. And I noticed, you know, from there wasn't much of the interaction at the concert. Obviously I was attracted to her. But I started to actually watch her Instagram, and so many of the things that she was posting or was passionate about were like super in alignment with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that made the attraction even more. And so I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks goes by or whatever. We've like maybe liked a couple things of each other's stuff. No talking or texting. And I just decided to text her. I'm like, oh man, I think it's that week where she's supposed to come up here. Like, I don't know, it was like Monday. I think she was coming up like Thursday is what she had previously told me. And I texted her and said, hey, like, I don't know if you're serious, but if you still want to grab coffee, like I'm game. So I threw her a text, and she texted right back and said, oh yeah, for sure. Let's set it up. And so we set up a coffee date.
You bring it to your shop?
No. She was staying out. She was staying out in Kuna at a friend's house. And I thought that she was going to come into town. And like that morning she texted me and said, hey, can you pick me up? And so we went to a coffee shop out there. Yeah.
Nice. So how long did you guys end up dating before you got married?
We were dating, really for about
long distance then, right?
Yeah, a lot of it, like it was all long distance. We like, you know, once we decided like, hey, we want to be in a relationship with each other, like we really made a point of seeing each other every like 2 weeks, whether she'd fly up here, I'd fly down there, which was really great. She's an entrepreneur and so was I. So we had that flexibility. There was still a lot of sacrifice inside of that, but I had never experienced a long-term or a long distance relationship. And man, I think it was one of the best things for me. I don't know about her, but it was one of the best things for me because it really, like I could be who I was. Like I wasn't just taking her out on dates and whining and dining.
Yeah.
So I was able, like, our dates were like hanging out on the phone, hanging out on FaceTime. You know, that's like probably the best way to get to know each other. We'd spend hours on the phone. But it kind of removes that physical, you know, connection, which allows you to like get connected a little bit more emotionally, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So faster.
I used to live in Utah when my dad got a divorce when I was in ninth grade. I went through like halfway in 10th grade. I went to go live with my mom. So halfway in 10th grade and then all of 11th grade, I lived in Utah. And halfway through my 11th grade year is when I started dating Ashley. She lived in Idaho, and I lived in Utah. So, yeah, we just did the long-term dating or long-distance dating for like 6 months. And then we were able to get really close. She was like calling me in the morning to wake me up to go to school and like just some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And just really building that connection. And I just told my mom, like, I got to go back to Idaho, live with my dad so I can be closer to Ashley. And then we've been together since. But you do get really close, like, connection-wise.
Either that or it breaks off because long distance isn't easy. You both have to be vested.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, we're not here, you know, physically being able to, like, be there and enjoy each other. So it's like you're both going to have stressful days. Like, how do you support each other over FaceTime or phone? And it really, it puts into perspective if it's something you want to keep investing in. You have to work for it, right? And you also have to want it.
So how'd she ultimately come out here?
Yeah. So our relationship went deep, and the reason I believe it went deep so fast, and I think you asked, how long are we dating? I think we were dating, dude, probably like somewhere between like 3 and 6 months is all. But immediately when we started dating, this is going to sound crazy, but after our first date, she didn't know this. She knows this now. But one of my buddies, who is a big support system for me in healing through my divorce and stuff, had reached out and said, "Hey man, I know you're going on a date today. Like, good luck." Because I had the craziest dating stories from like a couple of my buddies, like made me get on the apps, and it was just like, it was the biggest wastes of time. And so he reached out and I said, "Well, actually, I just got done with that date." And he's like, "What?" He calls me and I said, "Dude, this is gonna sound crazy, but I think I'm going to marry this girl." And this is after a divorce, 9 years of marriage, but I believe the reason we were able to go so deep so fast is that she had done a lot of personal work, recently before us meeting, and I had done all that self-study too.
Yeah.
So I think we were two people that we weren't perfect. We weren't healed. I believe like relationships also help you heal from past traumas. But we were showing up as pretty damn good versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Like not only physically, which was a plus, but we were showing up, mentally, emotionally in like pretty good places, which allowed us to we were very clear with what we needed in a relationship, but also very clear with what we weren't willing to put up with. And I think if you would have met me, if she would have met me 5 years prior, I was the people pleaser, my identity mattered based off of what other people thought of me. And when I met her, I didn't care about those things, which made me a solid person.
Just showing up as the realest version of yourself.
Yeah.
Already taking care of all of your own personal baggage that you had taken care of. She took care of hers.
And there wasn't, and we still had some of that we needed to work through together, but we weren't coming in with ulterior motives. Ulterior motives and hidden agendas. There was none of that because we were both in pretty good spots. Yeah. Which allowed us to be pretty unattached. I know it sounds weird, but be kind of pretty unattached to the situation. Is this a good fit or is this not a good fit? Yeah. And a lot of times, right, relationships start because of emotional, alcoholic feelings, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, with you guys having a long distance relationship, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have those one night flings and stuff when you're long distance. So
exactly.
So
that's good, man.
Then you guys get together.
She made a huge sacrifice, dude. She moved up here. She had a tremendous business down in California, and mine was a business that was obviously a bricks and mortar at the time. And she made a huge sacrifice. She knew that she didn't really want to stay long term in California. That's where her family is, and she has some property and stuff down there. But she knew that she wanted to experience something different, and so she was willing to move up here. And dude, in the first couple weeks of her moving up here, we found out that she was pregnant. Yeah. Yep. So we removed that physical barrier for quite some time, but Yeah.
All right. Nice, dude. And then, what'd you guys do do you guys do a quick, you guys did a small wedding, right? It wasn't anything.
So dude, it was awesome. When Sarah told me that she was pregnant, I was obviously in disbelief. I don't know, you're a guy. I think I probably we never fully feel equipped to become a parent. I don't think, I would have felt this way at age 16 if I found out and I was age 30, whatever, 32, 33. Yeah. And I still felt that same way. There's a sense of oh my gosh, because we've never been there before, right? Sure. It's a little bit scary, but it was super exciting. I was I always wanted to be a dad. I didn't know if I was going to get the opportunity after what I had been through. And so she told me, and I knew I knew what we needed to do right away to be right with each other, right? I to be honorable to her. And so we got engaged pretty quickly and got married pretty quickly after that. And the coolest thing is it wasn't her finding out that she was pregnant that made me want to marry her. Like I told you, our relationship went very deep very quickly, and she wouldn't have moved up if we didn't know that was the path that we were already on. We both wouldn't have, made that happen. And so we ended up, we got, our pastor married us, just me and her, just up in the foothills on St. Patrick's Day randomly. It wasn't because it was St. Patty's Day, but it happened to be St. Patty's Day.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you had Carson.
Yeah, man. And Carson came along like, I don't know, 6 months or so later. And dude, life changed. Right? You know that as a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your whole perspective of everything that you do, you're not doing it for yourself anymore.
Which was my next level up, dude, because I wasn't like, I'm not perfect and I'm still not perfect, but like that increased my not giving a fuck what other people thought, right? Like having kids when you're struggling with your identity, like that was something I'd struggled with for a lot of years, probably in junior high, high school, you know, into my young adult age life. Like, dude, when you have a kid, it's pretty tough to not look at them as like the center of your world, right? Like I now need to keep this kid alive. I need to be the best version of myself to teach them. And that I think has wiped out 99% of me caring what other people think. There's probably a little bit left in there. I'm a human, right? But like having kids, I'm like, he's like, my family is what matters now, right? Like how I show up for them, you know, what they think of me. And you know, you come home, dude. I get home from the gym and it's pretty apparent how Carson feels about me. Just that you don't get a feeling like that any other way, you know?
Yeah, the best feeling in the world when your kids want to see you when you get home.
Dude, even if you're gone for an hour.
Yeah.
It's like a dog, but better. Yeah. Way better for all of you guys who only have dogs.
Yeah, right? I'm a dog mom or a dog dad. You're like, whatever, dude.
And I'm just saying, like, I was a dog dad before this. So that I thought there was nothing. Yeah. There's nothing that could eclipse that. But there is. There is. Right. It's called kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once you have kids, man, it's the craziest thing. I've said this before, but
yeah,
like you have to take all these tests and everything to get a car, and they're like, "Here's your kid,
dude." And we had our baby at home, right? Like we've had both of our babies at home,
right.
And it's really like that because you're not even like, you know, I'm assuming most people that listen to this, like if you've had kids, like hospital setting, right? Like you've got some support. You might even have to stay there a night or two, and if it's early, like maybe even longer for the baby. And you know, we've been blessed to be able to have both of our babies at home. It's what we've wanted. And Sarah's been just a champion.
All natural.
Yeah, dude, all natural on both births, like crazy. It's like she's a badass. But literally, like when you're working with a midwife, if everything goes well, which it did for us, like we had like they're there for about an hour and a half after the baby's born, and then they leave. And they're like, hey, like we'll see you again in a couple of days to like check on the baby. So like you literally have the baby and you're at home. And they leave. It's like you had a puppy, bro. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that whole experience like the first time that you held your son?
Oh, dude. Well, I got to deliver him. So pretty crazy story. Sarah had been going through like, you know, contractions and stuff like overnight just to make the story a little bit shorter and not to diminish what she went through. But we woke up the next day after like, you know, she'd been through it pretty hard through the night. And she like yells to me. She's in the bathroom. She's like, "Oh my gosh, like I can feel the baby. Like the baby's coming." And luckily, like this, we had Carson on the weekend, so we had on call midwives. Luckily, the one who was on call was in our general area of Boise. And but before she could get there, I mean, I opened the front door because we have like one of those keypad locks, and I didn't want her to have to deal with that. So I just opened the front door and I run back to the bathroom. And by the time she got there, Carson was out, like I think out to like his hips. Like we had his booty out, maybe even. Like he was there. Geez. He was out.
Yeah.
And so I literally got to hold him first. And just crazy, dude. Just like adrenaline and like, I don't know, dude. Like probably the biggest like dump of like serotonin, oxytocin. I don't know. You know, like it was crazy.
What an experience, man. I mean, I know it's got to be completely different than all of my kids have been born in the hospital. You got a whole room full of doctors and nurses and everything, and it's still just a wave of emotion.
Absolutely.
But like to be the one that's delivering the baby and doing everything and just so personal of just you and your wife and the midwife there, but going skin to skin, everything like for the first time, man, it's
wild.
It's a wild experience. And
yeah,
it really makes you change your perspective on life and realize that you're not living for you anymore, and everything you do is now going to determine that kid's future. it's the most powerful thing and the best gift. Like,
Yeah.
man, I can't even describe it. It's the biggest blessing because it really does make you grow.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you just said, like a lot of the rest of like all the little small things that you used to stress over, like those things don't go away. They still need to be taken care of. But the priority of those things puts them where they actually should be, right? The rest of the world kind of clouds out. And again, you still need to take care of all those things, but those little things that were stressing you out start to become like more minimal. I think it's like I'm sure you can still struggle with these things, but for me, it's been a little bit easier to set boundaries around them because like when I have a priority that's a living, breathing kid, it's pretty easy to say, hey, this is more important than this.
Right.
And put it in its place. You know?
What's been some of the tougher challenges that you weren't seeing coming along, becoming a dad? And I mean, you were a dad, a new husband, and you're a business owner this whole time too. So, I mean, like, what was that like?
I just have to say, like, first, there's probably been like such a larger sacrifice on Sarah's side of things. You know, you just talked about all the things that changed for me, like, you know, new relationship, getting married, kids. I opened another location in between there too. But aside from that, Sarah had removed herself physically from where she was comfortable, right? Like her home. She had completely re-identified herself, you know, moving away from her business. So I can't imagine what she went through. And I probably could have been more sensitive to that. But for me, you know, what changed? Well, I think typically, like as a guy, it's like, how am I going to be able to provide enough? Not like financially, but also like love, emotional. I think I realized how like the biggest thing is like, I always heard from mentors and business people, like time is your most valuable asset. You can never buy time back. I don't think that really hit me until now that I have kids. Like I was always like, yeah, I get it. I understand that concept, but like, you know, but now I'm like, I literally don't have enough time in a day to do all the, like, I usually write way too long of lists and stuff like that. So that's my personality type. But I now realize that like, dude, we only get how many years with these kids. And so I think that perspective's changed for me. Obviously, like it's put, you know, you have to rework your relationship with your wife, and we're still working on those things, really, you know, getting solid foundations of like, hey, where can we have alone time? When can we have date time? How can we communicate through the chaos, right? Because there's chaos with kids. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I think that one thing I found recently is I need to make sure that my wife and I's relationship is solid and like she takes priority.
Yeah. And
I've had to switch it to like she's priority over the kids because I need to make sure that our relationship is solid to be able to give our kids the best version. Because if we're on, if I'm picking my kid's side and not taking her side, that's going to put division between us and the kids. And we need to come together as like a strong front for them, which was, I always thought, you know, from my childhood growing up and everything, I was like, I went through some stuff and I was like, I'm always going to take the kids' side. And like to an extent, I guess, you know, listen to your kids, but make sure you make your wife the priority because you two are going to be the example for what they need to be later on in life.
Well, and who do you want your daughters to end up with? Do you want them to end up with men who don't prioritize them? Right? They get that from you. Like they literally watch how you treat your wife. And if you don't treat your wife with the most honor, like that's a protected, important part of the relationship, you know, or the most important part of the family. They're gonna grow up with some weird stuff.
Yeah, and I had to take that into account too because I was a terrible husband. You know, when I was drinking a lot. I was overweight. I was, you know, I was like all the things I've said, and I had to think about that too. Is like, do I want to be setting this example of what my daughters need to be looking for when they start looking for a husband or a partner or anything, right? Yeah. Like,
they're gonna look to their dad for that role model.
Yeah.
They're going to look to their dad. Like you're the best male relationship they have. Like that's going to be natural for them to gravitate towards is a similar relationship. Are you present with their mom? Like, are they prioritized? Like, is the mom prioritized?
Yeah.
Is the wife prioritized?
Yeah. Setting up that standard for them, right? Like if there's any habits that you don't like for yourself and you don't want your kids to have those, you need to take care of those because that's all they're going to know. I've said this multiple times before, but like working in the prison, that's I asked so many people so many times, like, why'd you end up the way you were? And they're like, oh, it's just the way that I grew up. That's all I knew. So you can take that same standard of the way that you treat your wife, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat others, like the way you show up is what your kids are going to pick up on. They'll always fail to listen to you, but they'll never fail to emulate you.
And watch you, yeah. And I think that's another big thing that's probably changed for me, dude, is like, I think I like am a pretty realistic person. Like I'm not scared to like look at, like do a little bit of a self-evaluation, not to like self-destruct, not to beat myself up, but to like look where I need to make changes. I find myself looking much more on like a daily basis at that because of having kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's just like another layer of accountability of like, wow, like would I want my kid doing this? Is this what, you know what I mean? Like, is this a healthy mindset or is this something I need to get rid of before I pass that along to them?
Yeah. Just this walk in life between now we're business owners. We're doing everything we need to do. But at the end of the day, like we're dads, we're husbands.
Pretty good identity to have.
Yeah.
Like the best.
It's such, it is the best. And turning, like Pastor Leanne, Ashley and I were listening to one of her things, and it was like turning the stressing into the blessing, and you know, just realizing like there's so many people out there that would just give whatever they could to have the life that we are that we have, and sometimes think is like a burden or something, right? Like we have so much going on. How am I going to fit this? But dude, we're in the top 1% of the world, even if we have running water, like, and just realizing everything that we have.
If you feel bad, go visit somewhere else.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Right.
Oh, dude, I love that. The stressing into the blessing. And that's something I talk to my clients about too. Not just my clients, but man, it's like a big awareness I've had because I think it's so easy to get stressed. Like we're dads, we're husbands, like anyone listening to this, if you're a mom, if you're a wife, you probably feel the same way. If you're single, you probably feel the same way. There's a lot to stress about. But what I started thinking about like that, like what you just said, the stressing is the blessing. I'm like, a lot of times when I'm stressed, like what I've started to do now is I'm like, what's stressing me out? And then when I like identify with what's stressing me out, it's like everything that I asked for. And it's like, dude, you can't ask God for stuff in your life, opportunities, these blessings you want. And then when they come your way, like, and there's like stuff that you need to do to operate inside of said blessing. Yeah. How can you be stressed about that? Like you literally just asked for that. And now it's here. And now you're negative about that when it's something you like asked for. Like I asked for a wife. I asked that I wanted to be a husband, or I mean that I wanted to be a dad. And now, like, there's some pretty stressful days as a husband. There's some pretty stressful days as a dad. How can I, like, be pissed about that? Yeah. Like, that doesn't make sense when you lay it out that ways. And sometimes I deal with my clients because they're stressing out. But it's like, well, dude, you asked, like, you want to be healthy. You want to be fit. You want to lose weight. And now you're stressed because of the things that go into losing weight. And I'm like, this is what you wanted. Right. Like, now, like, to get there has showed up.
And once you realize that pain is inevitable, like you're either going to be in pain because you're not in shape, or you're going to be in pain because you're getting in shape. Like there's no getting out of pain. So pick your pain. Do you want pain now and pleasure later? Do you want pleasure now and pain later? Like the one's going to be a good price to pay for a short term, and one's going to be a great price to pay later. So like just realize that there is no getting out of pain, and embrace it. And also be careful what you pray for. If you pray to be strong, know he's going to make you feel like you're weak. If you want patience, know you're going to be tested. Yeah. In times it's going to take you longer to do other things than you want. Like be careful, because you're not just going to be given the thing, and you're going to respect the thing more that you had to work for than just given. So your father's going to take care of you, but you're going to do it in a way that's going to make sure that it's lasting and you appreciate it, and not just given, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love this quote, dude. It's like and it's going to come off monetarily, but like we can talk about it in a bunch of different ways. But I love this quote. Like the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Like when you ask for more territory, if you want to take more territory, that comes with more responsibilities, right? So if you want more in your life, you're believing for more, you're praying for more, whatever it is, you're sick of where you're at, you want something different. Understand that when something different comes, there's a whole new set of things that you have to learn. There's a whole new set of responsibilities. So when those responsibilities start to like get set on your plate and you're stressed, you're thinking, why is this so challenging? Well, you asked for that, right? And that's part of stepping up to the plate. That's part of stepping up and now taking care of that new territory.
So right? Good.
And like you said, dude, we're humans. So it's easy to talk about and it's tough to do. So for like, if any of our clients are listening to this, it's like, I get it. I want overnight results just like you do. Right. But like the reality is that's not going to happen. And if I could give you overnight results, if we have weight loss surgery or something like that, it doesn't fix the bad habits. It doesn't fix the behaviors. So like, welcome the fact that you have some time to learn, right? Like if you want to lose 30 to 50 pounds, that's going to, if we want to lose 50 pounds, like that's probably going to take, what if it takes you 10 months or a year?
Yeah.
How long have you been overweight?
Right.
Like that's not that long amount of time. But if you look at that like a blessing that like, hey, I've got 12 months and while I'm losing this 50 pounds, I'm going to learn all the stuff that's going to keep it off me. If you can get focused about learning about the stuff that's going to keep it off you, you're going to lose the weight.
Right.
And you're going to show up as a completely different person. Your brain's going to be rewired. Right. And that's what I look at as business. Like when we talk about business, dude, it's like, we're literally getting paid to learn right now. That's why I like business over college. You pay to like get information. And yes, I get it. You and I, like we're making significant investments monetarily into our mentorship, into our growth. But the cool part about it, dude, is like, we're paying for the education, but we're also making money and earning while we learn. Like the best way is to like earn while you learn.
Yeah, that feedback loop is instant then. Either you try something and it doesn't work and you can adapt and overcome, or you find out that it worked and wow, okay, and then you can even adapt on that and make it better.
Dude, and I just like that just made a connection in my brain right now. I've never really thought about this, but like you pay a chunk of money to go to college to get this information and you hit graduation and that doesn't mean you have any experience.
Right.
Like you don't know, like, isn't that crazy? That's similar to weight loss. Like if we like cheat the system somehow and lose weight, right? And there's a whole bunch of different things. I don't care what your opinion is. Let's just use like weight loss surgery. Let's just say you cut all the fat off your body. Yeah. Right? Like whatever. Let's just say you cut off all the fat. That's like you just like college. You exchange this money. If you're not getting any real life experience, like you're paying the money, you lose the weight, and you're still that same human being. You're still starting at zero. Yeah. So you're probably going to start gaining that weight again. Versus like business is kind of similar to like doing it, like working with us as coaches. Like you're going to pay us for us to be your coach, but like you get to learn while you're losing weight, how to keep the weight off forever.
And you're also taking like, say you're paying for 6 months of coaching or a year for something that took us years to learn. So time is money, right?
Cut it in half.
Like, would you rather, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, if you care more about your time, you're going to spend your money. If you care more about your money, you're going to spend your time. Yeah. Which one do you think that wealthy people do?
Yeah, right. Because you're condensing. You're condensing, right? Like that's why you and I, like, again, we can talk about our clients hiring us, or we can talk about us hiring our coaches.
Right.
We know, dude, all the information's out there for free. It's 2025.
Yeah.
ChatGPT's here. Everything's here. But you and I know that being held inside of a container with some accountability, like being able to have a community to reach out to, like other people who are going through the same stuff, like that's why the community is so important in my program.
Yeah.
Just like it is for me inside of the program that I'm a part of.
Right, because you can go online right now and find out all the information that we'll give you in the coaching program. But why haven't you? There's apps you can download for free that'll teach you a workout plan. And if you just did that workout plan for 3-6 months every day consistently, sure. If you stuck to any diet, which they all have the same thing in common, it's a calorie deficit, whatever diet it is, you would lose weight, you would get your goal, but why haven't you? And it's that accountability portion.
Yeah. And that's when I know when someone's really like, when it's really a pain point, when they're really ready for change, because, we'll jump on calls with people, dude. And every once in a while I get someone who's like, hey, like they've been struggling. Like we go through the whole, like I go through my whole, sales script with them. I understand what's going on in their life. I believe I can help them. They're like, yeah, I'm super committed. And then at the end they say, hey, I think I'm going to try to do this on my own for a while. And I'm like, bro, how long have you been doing this on your own for a while?
Yeah.
Like, when is something going to change? If this is literally like holding you back, like you're telling me it is, how can you afford to try to trust yourself? How can you afford that?
Right. I think people start asking the wrong question of, instead of asking how much does this cost, they should be asking how much is this worth?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yep.
Because let's face it, either way, the money that you're going to spend on coaching, whether you say you can't afford it or you can afford it or any kind of mentorship, it's going to get spent within the next 6 to 12 months anyway. It's just, are you going to be spending this on more of things you don't need or something that's going to be getting you closer to your goal?
And I don't know about you, man, but like money matters to me. Probably a little bit too much, but money matters to me. And when I part ways with that, it's called an investment. Like I like it a little bit, like I worked hard for that, right? Like you work hard for your money. So there's a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears. There's a little bit of an attachment to that money that you're, investing. And when you make that investment, when you make that exchange like that, there's a little bit of pain that comes with. And what that pain does is it really, I think it can activate you. I think it holds you accountable.
From coach to coach, this is one thing that really bugs me, and I want to help as many people as I can. But like family and friends come to you, and you don't feel like you want to take their money because you're family, friends, whatever, right? But I've had such a switch in that lately because I've helped so many people. I've tried to help so many people, family and friends, and they don't take it seriously when they don't have any money invested. So I think if I love them the way that I should love them as a family or a friend, like, and I want them to get results, they need to have something invested into it, because I've just learned so many times that I've helped so many friends out and they don't take it seriously. And it's really frustrating because I feel weird taking money from family and friends, but at the same time, like, I care more about their results than I care about their money.
First of all, that's like a self-value thing, because, dude, you're a really valuable person. Like, you literally have all the skills that so many of the people that are watching this need to lose weight. So you first off need to realize that, right? But I totally agree with you there, man. Like, my definition of, the definition that's in my head of love is truth, right? And truth is like not always comfortable, right? Like, truth isn't feelings. It's not emotions. Like, that's not what love is. And I think, like, in this world, like, that's all we talk about. Love is feelings and truth and acceptance. It's not. Love is not acceptance. Like, love is truth, right? And the reality is like, the truth is that people need to make an investment in themselves if they're going to go to the next level. And that doesn't exclude our family members. It doesn't exclude our friends. What the hardest part is, dude, is we actually love them so much. We want to see them get the best results inside of our program, right? Like, isn't that how you feel?
Yeah.
I want my friends and my family to get the best results inside of my program. And so what I've realized, and this is by trial and error, is that when I give discounts, people value me less. They value their it's not me. They're purchasing their program. Right. When you work with me, it's your program. It's not my program. It's your program. I can't do the work. And so when you're not paying anything, you're not making any investment for something to be your program, you treat it as such. You treat it like trash. Yeah. So when it comes down to love is truth, if you truly love them, make them pay.
Exactly. It's a hard thing to understand if you're not the person helping. And like when I was starting my whole thing, I probably had 10 to 12 people that I was just trying to get testimonials from and everything. And those were not the best clients. Yeah. And it's hard because I really, as just a friend, I want them to have, I'm like, dude, I lost 40 pounds and I feel the best in my life. Like, I want this for you. Yeah. But you can't want it more than them.
Yeah, absolutely not. And, oh man, I was going to say something on that. Oh, like, I really struggle with that too. Like, wanting it more for my clients than they do. Like, again, we go back to like my past of being really like a people pleaser, like, my identity, like, I really attached myself to people a little bit too much. And I really think that's because I care for people. But what I realized is, like, really caring for people, loving people is truth. Right. And the truth is if we don't think they can afford it, like, we're stealing an opportunity away from them. So many other people, like, dude, we work with regular people, right? Like, we bring in a massive amount of value to them. Like, our clients are getting crazy results. And if I say, hey, I don't think you can afford this, or I don't want to make you pay, we're literally cheating the people we love most out of the most life-changing transformation that they could have.
Yeah. And the ones that have had issues paying and it's been like a stretch for them and they have to maybe budget a little bit harder, those are the ones that get the best results because it means so much to them. It
costs so much to them. Yeah. It's like the lady who gave, like, everything she had at church, right? And it wasn't very much, but to her it was everything. Yeah. Right. So yeah, and I think that's where our pricing structure comes in based off who you're working with. If you're working with people that, have large incomes, like, a few $1,000, like, probably isn't enough. It's probably not enough.
Yeah. So huge, man. I know you got to get going, and I appreciate all your time, man. Yeah, dude. But where's a good spot for everybody to follow up with you?
Instagram, man. Instagram or Facebook is great. At Maxfield Hendricks on Instagram, and same on Facebook, Maxfield Hendricks.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
I think we should do a lot more of these, just mini ones, but so much value. I appreciate all your knowledge and all the help you've had just in my own growth, business and faith and everything. So,
and I feel like you've got my back, man. You've been there for me too. So it goes two ways.
I think we're gonna do some hunting videos coming up next. So.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right. We'll take the videos. Maybe we'll only show them to you guys if we get something.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Cool, brother.